Morning, everybody. Jim Adkins here from Jim Adkins White Tiger Martial Arts, Jim Adkins Kenpo. And today, 26 moves. Today, I'm going to try and keep the video as short as I can. I'm going to avoid as much opinion as I possibly can, but I need to give you the lessons, right? So we're going to touch on yellow, orange, and purple, which will be actually white, yellow, and orange is considered beginner. Purple, blue, and green would be intermediate. Brown belt would be advanced, and then black belt's going to be master, right? So in those sectionings, I want you to understand that white belts, in case you're not familiar with the ranking system of martial arts and you're using this to train whatever you need, white belt, everybody's a white belt. So white to yellow is the first rank in Kenpo, in my Kenpo. Yellow to orange is the next, orange to purple is the next. So with the 26 moves, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you my system, 26 moves, beginner, intermediate, and advanced ideas based around your Kenpo training so that my students who are working on their next ranks for Kenpo can apply the 26 moves, which they do, to their Kenpo training. Got it? Okay. And then we'll touch on a couple of Rich Boyce asked some questions about some techniques he's working on for me. Mr. Clark, his training partner, also asked some questions about terminology and a fighting stance. I'll address those. I was asked to do a piece of the 4. We'll put that on the separate video and load that up. And also the ninja with the projectile weapons, the flexible weapons, and the weapons that we find in our natural environments will be a private video. If you want the link to that, you got to reach out to me, introduce yourself, let me know who I'm talking to, but I'll give it to anybody for free. Okay, so let's get started. Yellow belt or beginner. In 26 moves, we use the letters of the alphabet as an analogy. If you know me, you know that's what I like to do. So what we're going to do, I'll adjust the camera. I'm my own cameraman too. So what I'm going to do is take the letter A for avoid and adjust. And there has to be some opinion here so that you understand what that is. Avoid and adjust simply tells you that the mindset of who you are and what you're willing, capable, let's just stop there, willing and capable of doing in the self-defense situation. Okay, I can't really, to preface 26 moves, you really have to know what it is. But if you don't and you're interested, reach out to me and I'll share with you my system. So let's just move forward. A, avoid and adjust. And you've got to really know the background of 26 moves to understand exactly where we're at. So my students, you follow along. Maintaining your distance, adjusting your mindset, you know which of the 3 personality types you are, what you're capable of doing, not just physically, but internally, because there's a big difference there. You avoid and adjust. So let's say that this becomes your ready position in the situation. For yellow belts, let's take delayed sword and alternating mace. Alternating mace is not one of my favorite techniques, but let's just take it for a second. We've got our hands up, and our attacker, we don't know what they're going to throw. We're maintaining our distance. We've got our balance. We've got our feet underneath us. We've got our head in the game. We've avoided what we can already. If we're here and we're focused, we've already adjusted. We can't avoid anymore. Okay? So now we've adjusted our mentality and our resolve. We're going to move forward with our hands in the right position and our mind in the right position, whether it's a right punch, a left punch, or a two-handed attempted grab, shove, push, or tackle, we have the deflection ability and the restriking ability in every direction. So for yellow belt, with your position here, avoid, adjust, and if it's that right grab or that right punch, you move into delayed sword and finish it off right from this position. You don't need to cock your hand. You go from right where you're at, okay? Left punch comes, same thing. If it's an outside punch and you move out to deal with it, sort of distraction. If it comes straight in because you boxed it and you're like, hey, and this is the frame, and they start to push, grab, or punch in the area, and you do alternating mace, remember, in alternating mace, if you practiced it, studied it, or seen it somewhere else, you might see it as an outside block or an inward block to the outside of their attack, and you push down and punch over the top. I recommend you don't do that for a number of reasons I can get into if you ask questions. But you block and you punch right underneath, boom, right where you're at. Now that, if it's a solid punch, is going to move them away from that back knuckle. Body dynamics. Even if you punch to the gut at a downward angle, the chance of them moving forward close enough for that back knuckle is only determined by their willingness to reattack, keep coming, or their weakness of their abs. Because when you punch down anywhere in this area, you're going to move them away. Trust me. So, beginner, yellow belt. Hands are up. We've avoided. We've adjusted. We have delayed sword. We have alternating mace. We have sword of destruction. All from A. All right, let's get to orange belt and purple belt. Purple, blue, and green. Let's talk about the letter G. We're working on G in 26 moves. G is for geometry. Okay, so the geometry. If you're orange, purple, blue, or green, this is the letter you're working on. G. Okay, orange belt, kind of working on A through F still, but G. The geometry of the universal pattern. Take a picture of it. Look, you can look it up anywhere you want online. It's Parker used it. It's really a map of geometry or physical motion or implied motion. It's really not Mr. Parker's creation. It's he has a patch, and there's a picture of it that's really good for explanation. So geometry. In Kenpo, most of the way through Brown, for most Kenpo people, not everybody, not us, but most people, will look at the universal pattern in geometry, a map of motion, to evaluate only what can be done in a space of togetherness. The better Kenpo people will separate that and explore the attack as a geometric pattern, shape, or map of motion, the defense as a geometric map, shape, or map of motion, and then the combined activity of body dynamics becomes what we're doing. Take any technique you want. We can work on 5 swords all day long if you want to. Everybody knows 5 swords. And start the map of motion. For purple, blue, it doesn't matter. Let's just say you're intermediate in your thought process and you have some defensive moves and you're thinking through the adjustment avoidance section, the bridging and the battle areas, the capture and control areas, and you've got to the point where you're exploring geometry. You look at geometry first as a defense. This is your steps today, this week. This is what I want you working on. You put up your dukes, you get yourself in your avoidance, you're adjusted. They throw that right roundhouse punch because you chose 5 swords, okay? And you're looking at the geometry of the circle. They have to step into your zone, right? They have to step into your zone. They throw that rounding motion. The motion connects itself from intended target to joint, okay? To intercept this motion, there are many ways along that geometric line or shape or map to intercept that. Well, let's look at interception first. Then we can look at avoidance first. Look at interception at this level, and then look at destruction at the next level. Then take them out of the equation. They're still there. They're still going to throw the punch, but you don't care what they do. You don't care what they're punching, grabbing, kicking. You don't care. Okay, if they enter your zone, your exploration of geometry becomes what can you do effectively to them, irrelevant of what they want to try and do to you. Okay, so 5 swords now becomes an offensive technique. So we're looking at the circle. We learn to intercept and interrupt their idea. We learn to incorporate, and play with the idea. Then we learn they're in your zone. They may not even throw it, and you just move right in to the technique. They don't even have to throw anything. It's irrelevant what they throw. 2 hands, 1 hand. They try to kick, they enter, they try to tackle. And you start using those ideas of 5 swords in an offensive geometric, scientific exploration. Got it? That's purple, blue, and green. Sorry about this. Okay, 26 moves. We'll recap. Yellow belt, avoid and adjust. Learn to put your hands up. Learn to avoid what you can, then adjust your mentality and your physical abilities to deal with the situation. This is self-defense, right? Good morning, everybody.